It's the Draftsmen Show.
I think Robert Beverly Hale mentioned that some research showed that the paintings that would sell the most would be white horses running. A friend of mine told me that he knew of some research that showed the things that sell the least will be angular abstracts. If you've got round abstracts, people are going to more likely want to put them in their living room. But if you've got angular ones, they don't want them in their living room. Gosh, you could cut your skin on that stuff. Now, that's research. And that friend who told me about that research was someone who did paintings. He made a pretty good living doing paintings for hotel rooms where they do original watercolors, and you'd have to crank these things out by the scores, and they'd pay you a certain amount of money, but that way they could have these watercolors in these hotel rooms. So selling out, doing the thing that sells, again, I'm not as hard on it because I made my living as a panderer to ad agencies. I sold out. 90% of my money came from serving what advertising agencies needed and adjusting my work toward what they needed.
A lot of people, I'd say most working artists work in commercial art. They work for a studio, someone that tells them exactly what to do. They get paid for their job, for creating the art.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a way, that's selling out. You work for a Disney studio that tells you exactly what style to draw in because you have one guy determining the style of this film. You're just doing what they want. You're not really an artist at that point. You're a craftsman just doing stuff that someone's telling you to do. So is it okay?
Father Marshall, the lines of judgment get very blurry here.
Yeah.
There are people who are working for a production designer, an art director, a film director, who they are on board with the project and enthusiastic about it. And yeah. And then there are others who say, it's a job. It's a job. And I don't think it's wrong. John Cleese went on David Letterman back in the 80s, I think it was. And David Letterman pointed out that you're doing commercials. And he said, I'm a whore. And he said, but I've heard that they're good commercials. He said, I'm a good whore.
The ones I've heard are very, very nicely done. Very distinctive.
I'm a good whore,
Yeah.
And I remember thinking about that and thinking there's nothing morally wrong that I can figure with a person saying, I am going to sell this because it makes me money and I'll save the money and I can have a really good long-term relationship and just recognize those other ones I'm doing that as a business. It makes sense to me that he's doing the thing that pays his bills so that he can do what he wants to on the side. I don't see it. I don't make a judgment on it.
Yeah. Karl Kopinski called himself a whore too in my interview.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah. In my interview, he was telling a story about how when he goes to conventions, a lot of people come up to him with cards that he painted, does he work for Magic? I think it's Magic the Gathering. I might be wrong. God damn it. But it's, the cards with the painting on it and the character with the powers. People are throwing stuff at the screen right now. And people would come up and they'd say, can you modify this? Can you customize it? Can you paint over it?
Do you do alterations? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, yeah, draw over the picture. And I thought, I've spent a week on that. You want me to just scribble on it? He said, yeah, put Mickey Mouse ears on him. I also had a guy who just wanted me to draw spurting. What? Spurting. Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, I know.
the stuff that comes from the end. He wanted that on there.
Did you do that?
I didn't want to, but he was really insistent. So I did a very quick job.
Peer pressure.
Yeah. And then 3 years... Come on, man. Yeah, come on, draw me a... He was there just shouting, draw me a... All right, I'll draw you
Oh my God.
And then the best bit was, I went back to a convention maybe 3 years later, and the same dude turned up.
Oh no, you're like, not you again.
Yeah, he said, don't worry, I want you to draw this time.
Oh my God.
I was like, this is awful.
Turn off the cameras.
It was awful. And I did it.
You did it?
I'm such a whore.
Are you sure you want this recorded?
But the thing is that he got better at it. At first, the people were giving him Sharpies, and he would do it in this Sharpie, trying to get a good drawing out of this thick thing on a postage-sized thing. And he would put like a transparent gesso on it, and then he brought little paintbrushes and like acrylics or something, and then he would paint on them. So he got really good at it. He made it into his own thing. He brought his art into it rather than just being a whore.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
And these questions that you're asking, though, are also, they have this thing. Can you give us the final word on this, Marshall? Let's pull the camera back up over these.
Okay.
These are what John Gardner called faults of the soul. They are things that we are looking at. We're not trying to make rules. Do you know what the golden rule is?
There's two of them then. What, treat thy neighbor the way you want to be treated? And
that's the original one that was called the golden rule. That's from Jesus. That's
okay.
However you want to be treated yourself, treat other people that way.
Yeah. The other one is the golden ratio, which is sometimes called the golden rule.
No. The other one is the capitalist perversion, but truth of it, which is whoever has the gold makes the rules.
Okay.
The person who is hiring the artist for the project makes the rules. They have the power to do that. And so if we're willing to be hired, we follow the rules of the person. But a person who's a good hirer knows how to bring it out. We've talked about that before. Okay, here is the solution, I think, to the pandering thing.
Okay.
I mean, if we really want to be sure we're not pandering, is what Robert McKee talks about. Write the truth. Norman Rockwell stopped pandering because he was emotionally affected by social events, and he put truths in there that he felt he had neglected through his career. If a person writes the truth or paints the truth or draws the truth, they are likely to shrink their audience. Rembrandt's lack of flattering his subjects, Rembrandt's mashed potato people. Rembrandt is arguably the greatest at his kind of art ever. But his stuff was not flattering, and I think that it affected his success. Van Gogh is the extreme example of it. Van Gogh did not sell out. Van Gogh did not get the rewards of his labor. His brother was one of the great champions of art history for believing in the guy and supporting him so he could do the thing that he felt needed to be done that was not going to conform to what the people who make the rules say. Your stuff will not be acknowledged as art if you do that. And he did it anyway. So there you know, there's one way to know that you're keeping your integrity if you're willing to be poor for your integrity. Your priorities become revealed. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. My priority is that I need to pay my bills.
Low, doo, 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 low, doo, 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 low, doo, doo.